And as we do that, we've got more people coming in, so that's good. It's not as light as we thought it was going to be. Um, so just to say that these meetings are set up as a relaxed way of organisations coming along and sharing information and just telling us what's happening at the moment with their work and their organisations. And yes, say just be relaxed, just kind of take as long as you need to go through your information, and then we'll sort of move on to the next person on the screen. I think I'll start with Audrey because I know Audrey, you said you've got to go out to lunch a little bit later, so we'll start with you first of all. You're from Home Share West, aren't you?
Home Share West, yes, as is Ramona. Yes, we've been operating in this area for quite some time, but we are pretty well unknown, and we're trying to raise awareness. So the more we can get out and talk to other people about the service, so much the better. What we do basically is we match younger adults with older adults. The older adults being people who need some support to remain living independently at home. So it might be simply that they're lonely, or they need somebody in the house overnight, or they need a bit of help. They may have carers in place already, but they just need some kind of practical support from the home sharers. So we interview a householder, find out what the requirements are, and then we look for the right person to go and live with them. The home share is somebody who will be out at work during the day. It is simply a living arrangement between the two of them. Accommodation in exchange for support. So the home sharer is getting a rent-free place to live. They're providing their own food, telephone, toiletries, all of that. But the householder is giving them a reasonable room in the home and making them welcome. And of course, they're getting 10 hours of a mixture of companionship and practical support, never any personal care. And they've got somebody in the house overnight. And we charge £200 to each party per calendar month, nothing until the day they move in. And once they move in, and that's how we get our income, because we have no funding sources. We have to be self-sufficient. So a lot of what we do is on a voluntary basis. I think that's probably enough. Ramona will probably pick up more. Should I pass on to Ramona and then she can top off what I've just said? Is that okay, Mark?
You nodding, Mark. I presume.
Yeah, that's fine, Ramona. Sorry, I mean me mic muted there. So yeah, please carry on, Ramona.
Oh gosh, sorry, I figured. Right. So usually as professionals, safeguarding is the first thing that comes to our mind, I would imagine. So just to reassure you that it's a fully safe service. As Audrey mentioned, we've got an enhanced background checks on all our potential sharers. So these are the younger adults living with the older people. We also take character references for them, and very importantly, this is a supported service. So in other words, we are with our matches from the day when they come to us and decide to sign up until the day when they decide to end a home sharing agreement and not to be rematched again. So we will check in regularly with them. We arrange home visits, we keep in touch with family, friends and so on to ensure everything is going as it should be. We've got quite a few people on our books that have been rematched several times, both the householders, those are the older people, as well as the potential sharers. It's worked out really, really well. Like, what we find is some older people, sometimes they're a bit more reticent about going ahead because they see it as a stranger moving in with them. But in reality, by the time the move-in actually happens, they would have met several times and they would have gotten to know each other quite well. And obviously, as we do the background check, so it's a safe living arrangement. Excuse me. We do rematching as well. So when a sharer decides to move on or a householder's needs become a bit too much for a home sharing arrangement to still be suitable, we can sort of reshuffle and find people alternative accommodation. We generally speaking ask people to commit to living together for a minimum of a year. However, most of our matches tend to last about 2-3 years on average. Our longest running match, which was in Bath, was nearly 7 years. I think it was a few weeks shy of 7 years. So we really do focus on putting the right people together and to ensure they do build up a beautiful friendship at the end of the day. And they themselves very much enjoy the arrangement. So I think that's pretty much it about the service itself. What we're very keen, as Audrey said, is to increase awareness about the existence of our service. So we're very keen to come out and talk to people, be it professionals or any existing groups you may know of. What I'll do is I'll put our contact details in the chat, and perhaps if you can think of any teams or any kind of groups that you know of that might benefit from us popping round to tell them about the service, please do get in touch with us. I promise you, we're not harsh sellers. We go about it very gently. We never force anybody into anything. We basically give people the information. We can go and see them if they wish to and have a nice chat over a cuppa, very relaxed. And it's always up to them to get back in touch with us to say whether they wish to go ahead. Otherwise, we don't chase after them. We don't try and talk them into something they don't really want. So just to provide that bit of reassurance as well. And I'm not sure if anybody would have any questions. Sorry, this is a very impromptu presentation of the service. But if you have any questions, I'll put our contacts in. Feel free to shout out now or maybe contact us at a later date.
Yeah, of course. Ramona, how is it you're doing at the moment with numbers of people for matches? Do you have like more of one than another, or do you find you've got the right sort of balance at the moment?
We only really recruit sharers when we've got householders who are looking for somebody to come and live with them. So, because as you know, when somebody needs accommodation, they usually tend to need it quite quickly, so within a month or two. And if we're not sure we can find somewhere suitable for them, we're not gonna, keep them hanging around. We've had people that have come to us initially. We didn't have anything suitable. Then later on, because they knew of home sharing, they really liked this type of living arrangement, and we did match them after some time, as and when it was the right time for them. And obviously it was the perfect timing because we had somebody looking for that sort of a person. As I mentioned, we do focus on putting the right people together. So say, apart from obviously making sure they get on, they gel, they enjoy spending time together, if an older person wants their sharer to cook and share 3-4 meals a week, for example, we'll find them somebody who loves to cook. So it's not a massive asking task of them to do that. So we want people to feel, it's a really friendly social arrangement. We don't want it to feel like work for a sharer, and obviously we want them to feel comfortable and find things that they have in common so that they enjoy the time they spend together. A lot of our matches they do social stuff, don't they? They go out to the theatre and to a cafe and to go for walks. We've got a match that do cold swimming in the river first thing in the morning. All sorts of things, as long as as you said, there's no personal care involved, pretty much anything goes after that, but obviously with everybody's permission, of course. Did you have a question, Mel? Sorry. Oh.
I think Mel's got a question there as well. Hi, Mel.
Yeah, well, hi. Thanks, everybody. I was just going to say thanks for the presentation. I've met both of you. I think I've certainly met Ramona at a dementia event last year at Peasdown. I think it's fantastic. I think home share, what you do is brilliant, and it sounds like you're matching. The matching you do and the safeguarding of procedures are very thorough, which is important for all involved, isn't it? What I was wondering is, inevitably there will be times when someone's needs change or they become disabled or their needs become more complex, meaning they might need personal care. So presumably then would the person living there would be able to signpost them or help them, support them find personal care separately?
It wouldn't be the person living there necessarily. They can come to us. So our sharers do end up acting as the ears and the eyes for the family and ourselves. So they do alert us if any changes occur. Obviously, we're dealing with older people. Sometimes people have cognitive issues. Things can change and you never quite know what to expect. So we do a lot of signposting for the older people and their families to relevant services. That's why it's quite important that we check in with them regularly to assess that it is still a suitable living arrangement for everybody. Now, we've had over the years, we've had people that had or developed additional personal care needs, in which case the families made their own private arrangement with agencies. I've also had matches where we had the living carer and the home share arrangement in place, because the family saw it as additional interaction and support for the parent, the living parent. So, you know, a home sharing arrangement can take really wonderful various forms and shapes in many ways, things we didn't, perhaps even I didn't expect when I first started, despite my lived experience of home sharing. The important thing is that it is a personalized service. We work very closely with our householders and their family to ensure that whatever it is that we put in place, that can be arranged. On the flip side, if it comes to a point where, say, a householder lives in a 2-bed place accommodation and develops a need for a living carer, we ask that they give the sharer a minimum of 1 month's notice, so the sharer can find alternative accommodation, or we can rematch them if we've got somebody looking at that time. We really are very big on communication, and we'd like to build really good relationships with everybody involved within a match, which means that I'm quite happy to say that everybody is very transparent about any changes that happen. That, you know, we're all very realistic. We all want to be helpful, but ultimately we can only do it when the information is shared with us. So it's going really well from that perspective. We have yet to have anyone, actually we haven't had any cases where anyone suddenly was in a bit of a pickle and, you know, they couldn't deal with things. We did support them throughout the whole time, even a transition period. So that's a very long-winded reply.
No. I was just, so is there a risk though if someone's kind of says, "Oh, can you just, you know, if I fall, can you just help pick me up off the floor?" and they haven't had the moving and handling training, or I suppose I'm just thinking of potential risks or financial abuse risks, or I don't know, sexual abuse. I don't know. I mean, I sound like I'm being very negative, but I'm sure you've got it all covered.
Not in my experience in 26 years so far.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We've never had it, but we do have very in-depth. So we have a very in-depth recruitment process during which we cover all those conversations. We provide them a moving pack as well. So as you've said, you know, been there, done that. We've been through everything, although we've never had any abuse situation as such. But yeah, we talk about handling finances. We talk about even about their wills. Literally, we go through everything to make sure everything is captured in writing with signatures, to make sure everything is in place. And then again, we keep in touch with them. We check in regularly. We'll go and see them, not just by phone and email. We keep in touch with the family. So if there's ever any kind of queries or any kind of, somebody just isn't quite sure about something, they can get hold of us very quickly, and we can sort any kind of issues if they occur.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if there's any other questions, otherwise I will actually shut off. Thank you.
I just have one other question, Ramona. It's Mark. I just wanted to ask about the area that you're working in. Is it just Bath, or do you work in a broader area than that?
We've got quite an area that we cover. So we're across Bath, BANES, all the area, Bristol area. We've got North Somerset and South Gloucestershire, and we're also going to take over Gloucestershire very soon. I used to run the home share project in Gloucestershire via Age UK, but they've stopped. They're going to stop doing it at the end of this month, so it's going to come under the Home Share West umbrella. I'm allowed to share the news now. I live in Gloucester, so it makes sense that we cover that as well. So yeah, it's quite a wide area, but between the two of us, we manage it really well, I think.
Lovely, that's brilliant. I can't see any more hands. Before I move on to the next person, I just want to apologize if anybody had the wrong link for the meeting. I noticed there was some chat from a previous meeting popping up on my screen. That's why I disappeared for a minute, and I've just given those people that were in another room the right link, so hopefully everyone has joined us now. That it was sort of a little bit confused, so sorry about that. Next person I have on my screen is Rob Hable. Hello, Rob.
Morning, all. Right, so I'm the team manager of FS BANES Floating Support Service as part of Second Step. And we have a very, very small service. We have a max capacity of 30 clients. We're a floating support service, short term, short to medium term service for people with mental health problems who are either finding it difficult to manage their tenancy and could be at risk of losing their home, or are moving to a new tenancy and need support with this. So we agreed how often you will need support, and we will develop a recovery plan with you based on your needs, interests and aspirations. We offer both practical and emotional support, including help with sorting out your financial situations, filling in forms, talking to utility companies, dealing with other agencies, meeting new people in the community, accessing higher level mental health or more specialist support services, drug and alcohol, debt management, employment support, etc. We can help with benefit claims and appeals, budgeting, maintaining your home, attending appointments. So pretty much all those kind of little bits that almost kind of get forgotten about. So generally, clients will receive up to 1 to 2 hours of support a week, although this will vary depending on individual circumstances and what's going on for them at the time. We review support regularly. Our aim is to help to get our clients to a place where they're able to manage their accommodation with the right levels of support, and ideally to become more independent, to be able to manage this themselves. We also run regular service user groups, involvement groups, chance for people to meet new people in the community. Often a lot of our clients, they struggle to get out of their own home, they struggle to socialise, so we introduce them into new groups to help promote that. That's pretty much us. To get into our service, you would either need to rent your own home or be a homeowner. Obviously, you need to be over 18. Have current mental health needs and live anywhere within Bath and North East Somerset. So and we're all completely free. The unique thing that I really like about the FS BANES service is we're up to, like I said earlier, we're up to 2 years support, which is granted a long time. We're currently, obviously our contract was due to end this month. That's why we're all here. So we've kind of been looking at other models that potentially might work. Another service that I manage in Second Step is the help when you need it service, which we've recently introduced goal-based outcomes, which is, so we work with our clients for 12 weeks, working on a primary goal. What we found with that is we've managed to work with more clients over the same time period. We've reduced our waiting list down to 4 to 5 weeks. So we can do specific pieces of work for the client, close them, and then they can refer back into our service. We're kind of looking at that model to see if we could adapt that or use that idea to bring into the FS BANES service as well, so that we can have more kind of tailored, specific support for individuals. But at the moment, the uniqueness of us is the length of time we do support clients. There's pros and cons around that as well. We work very therapeutically as well. We're very pattern orientated, because we're not just supporting these clients. We feel because of that length of time, we're building up really strong relationships with our clients as well, which is really important. But within that, obviously, we have to think about endings. We have to think about how that's managed well. Our general feedback is that we have very positive feedback. I think our clients like that continuity of support. So it's, again, we're kind of in that transition period of thinking, do we need to adapt it? Looking at the help when you need it model, which again, we've got 95% outcome success rates because of that short-term work, and clients feel they're achieving something. Within BANES, we get equal positive outcome, but for almost the other reason, because we're not short-term, because we are staying with them and we kind of see things through with them. As we know, sometimes dealing with housing organisations isn't always great. It's not always a positive. Sometimes our clients are waiting, they're filling out forms, they're waiting for those forms to come back, or they're waiting for decisions to be made, which is when some services kind of complete that work, close them, whereas we can kind of sit with them through that process and kind of contain that angst, if trying to put it a better way. So again, yeah, so a lot of our clients kind of feel very held by us. They feel very supported by us. But I say we're very, very small service. We're looking at new structures at the moment to try and condense it, to also try and save money, as we all are in this room at the moment. So we're looking to reduce our client capacity down to potentially 18, reduce our recovery coaches. But again, we're looking at the model that we could employ, perhaps bring in GBOs, like I said, and see how we can try and support more people more regularly.
Thanks, Robert. Do you actually have any waiting lists at the moment, or do people, when they come to you, get served straight away?
We do have a waiting list. Obviously, at the moment, because of circumstances, we're actually close to referrals. But our waiting list is very small. I think beginning of the week, yesterday, we had 4 on our waiting list. So again, with the waiting list, someone will refer in. We've got George, who is possibly one of the best administrators on the planet. He's an absolute legend. He'll arrange an assessment. We'll assess the client, see if they're appropriate for our service. And if there's space, they'll be allocated pretty much straight away.
Lovely, that's great. Thank you, Rob. Next on my screen, I've got Mel Hodgson from LiveWell. Hello, Mel. Sorry, did I catch you unawares there, Mel?
Yeah, I was just writing something down and thought, it's because that's the thing, isn't it? You don't know who's going to be next. It's one of those, like some game show, and it's Mel. Thanks, Mark, and hi, everybody.
You're welcome.
I know quite a few of you, but for those that don't, I'm Mel Hodgson, and I work for BANES Council, managing a service called LiveWell BANES. So LiveWell, for those that don't know, sorry for those of you who know, you can drift off for a minute. LiveWell is a statutory service that provides information for specific groups of people. So it includes our Send Local offer, which is information for children, young people with SEND, special educational needs disabilities, and also their parent carers. So it's a wealth of information, what's on, what's available, support through processes, links to colleagues in SENDIAS. I can see Joe's here. So anything really that a child, young person with SEND or their parent carers need to support them. And it also includes the Rainbow Resource Scheme, which provides, so there's eligibility, but what we do is it provides a card, a membership card, that the young person or child can take to a range of organisations in BANES and further afield. There's about 40 currently participating organisations, and it entitles them to a concession or a free session, money off. Each participating venue has different concessions. So some may be parent carer goes free, some may be an invitation to a special send session, etc. So the other part of LiveWell is universal family information, and what we mean by that is information for all parents. So if anybody is looking after or parenting a child or young person, there's tons of information: childcare, parenting support. Just to mention also, if any of you want to know more, want a kind of mini tour of LiveWell, I'm happy to do that. So just drop me a line, I'll put my email in the chat. So that's the sister site. So that's universal family information. And finally, last but absolutely not least, is LiveWell BANES Adults, which is so it's a directory of information that provides lots and lots of support for any adult who needs care or support. And what we mean by that, it could be frailty and old age, could be sensory loss, sensory impairment, physical disability, learning disability, mental ill health support, care support of ranging from light needs to sort of, light support around the home to complex needs. And it's all on there. And my team keeps it up to date as best we can. So that's an ongoing job, because it's important that LiveWell is, up to date and can be trusted and is reliable. I've also spotted that HomeShare West and Second Step are listed, so that's great. So if you're at this meeting and you're not on LiveWell, drop me a line, we'll get you listed, it's all free. Also, we have the cost of living, loads of cost of living information for all ages and all needs. And the Warm Spaces Directory, which, if you're not aware, it's an initiative. This is the 3rd year that we've hosted the directory. It's a range of venues across BANES that offer themselves as a warm space, so anybody can come along, have a cuppa. Often it's, it's a free drink or soup and a roll, toys for children, lots of different, they all have a different offer, so lots of that going on at the moment. That will probably end maybe towards the end of April, when hopefully it won't be cold anymore. I think that's probably all I want to say. I mean, you know, it's a whistle stop. I could talk for hours about it, and there's other people here. The one thing I would like to give a plug is we have a next Monday at the Summer Centre in Midsummer Norton. My team and BANES Parent Carer Forum are hosting a send event for parent carers. So any parent carer who has a child or young person up to 25 with an additional need can pop along. There is about 25 organisations coming along from a range of organisations who support SEND families. So it's free and anyone can pop along. I can pop the flyer in the chat. If anybody wants to share it or find out more, they can give me a shout. Yeah, so I think that's probably it from me. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mel. Next, I have Susie Brooke Davies. Hello, Susie.
Hi there, thanks very much. So I'm from Your Park, Bristol and Bath, and I'm the mental health lead for the Routes to Wellbeing project. So we work specifically with people with mental health needs or people who are going through challenging life events or who are lonely or isolated. And we work in parks across Bristol and Bath. In Bath at the moment, the group that we run takes place on a Tuesday. And we're up in Twerton Round Hill at the moment. Previously, we were working at Brickfields Park. So we run an 18-week program, which is quite a supported program, an in-depth program, and it's about supporting people to connect with nature and in order to support their well-being. So we have sort of 2.5-hour sessions, and people come along. We have a shared. We start with a shared communal lunch, which is all free, and then we'll go out into the park and we do various different activities which are related to nature connection, and it might be crafts, there might be some practical hands-on work in nature, we might be looking at flora, fauna, we might be listening to birdsong or doing some art activities. It's really varied. There's a different theme each week, which is it might be beauty, it might be compassion. There's a real focus on peer support within the group. And as I say, it's an 18-week program. We have a kind of very involved assessment, triage process at the beginning, and then our team will contact people on a weekly basis before the group. They have the time within the group, and every 6 weeks we also have some one-to-one time with each participant where we think with them about looking at progression routes and goals and things that they'd like to move on into. So I guess in total, we're working with each individual for around about 6 months, and we're talking about the endings right at the beginning. The whole aim is to develop confidence and increase the amount of time that people are spending outside in activities and outside in nature, and getting some exercise as well, basically, but trying to increase their social connections as well in their local area. So all of our groups across Bristol and Bath sort of take place in more areas of higher deprivation. That is our target group. As I say, at the moment, we've just got the one group in Bath, but and like everyone else, funding is always an issue. So we're currently looking at trying to bring in more funding. I think during the winter months, we always struggle for referrals. So our group at the moment is quite small, but we're definitely trying to get more referrals as the weather warms up. It's lovely out there today. We start to see the referrals drifting as people begin to think, okay, yeah, maybe I do want to be outside. I'm going to put the link to our website in the chat so that you can easily find the referral pathway. So people can self-refer, or you can refer as a professional. The form is really simple, and we would then contact the individual to, as I say, to do a full assessment, but also liaise with you as the professional to see if there's any additional support needs that you feel that we could put in place. I think that's about it. Interestingly, great to hear what you had to say, Rob. I've been trying to get hold of Second Step in Bath. It sounds like you're going through quite a lot of changes, but I used to work in Second Step in Bristol, and I think that it would be possibly a good connection in Bath. It certainly would work for your client group, I think.
That's really good to hear, because yeah, we're currently looking at, we want to extend the contract as much as we possibly can, and team up with as many people as we possibly can across Bath. So yeah, that sounds really positive.
Right. Well, we're happy to come to team meetings, talk to your team, or, you know, a lot of referrers love to come out and spend a session with us, just to shadow a session, and you get the free lunch, obviously, and spend a bit of time in the park. So yeah, come and join us.
Free lunch sold. Susie, do you want to email me and we'll get something set up?
Yeah, great. I will do. Thanks. If you could put your email address in the chat, Rob, that'd be really helpful.
Doing it as we speak. Cheers, Susie. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rob. Next, I've got Maria Fitzgerald. Hello, Maria.
Hello, my name's Maria. I'm from the MS Society. So I'm wanting to tell you about a project that I'm working on called Community Connections. So it's funded by Wales and West Utilities, and it's running till March next year. So the project came about through listening events that the MS Society held with people with MS, and there was a theme that emerged that people were having difficulty navigating services. So it's sort of a wide range of services. So my role is to make connections with the services in the local area so that I can then signpost people who are referred to our service onto you. So it could be signposting about finances. Some of our groups have got connections with citizens advice and have their own caseworker, but I don't think they have that in the Bath area. So finances, well-being, social activities, and we're also able to be a bit more bespoke. So some people have asked about how to get free family law advice, for example, if they're going through a divorce. So we've got that flexibility to be quite specific with people. So we're also raising awareness of our in-person groups. So we've got one in BANES with the group coordinator called Steve Plant. And we're raising awareness of what our helpline offers. So we've got our own MS nurses, a free legal service, benefits advisors, a befriending service, and our own physical activity specialists. So they're all services that can be delivered over the phone with people. We've also got a lot of online support. So through Eventbrite, we've got various, I think we've got a whole year's worth of events on Eventbrite. So they could be carer support groups or exercise classes, a virtual book club, and there's also webinars which are created with people who've got MS. So some that are coming up are traveling or using public transport, so things like that. So the people they're created with will give their first-hand experiences of issues they've had and how they've overcome it. And because we're funded by Wales and West Utilities, we're also getting information to vulnerable people. So that includes information about the warm home discount, energy efficiency information, the dangers of carbon monoxide and a free alarm, raising awareness of the priority services register. So our services are for people with MS, but also their family members and unpaid carers. And people can refer themselves online or a professional can. So I'll put my contact details in the chat if anybody has any questions or any potential clients.
Okay. Next person I have is Jenny Crossley. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, sorry, I just had to rapidly take myself off mute. So my name's Jenny. I work for a national fuel poverty charity called National Energy Action, and I tend to rock up to these meetings just to say hello, and just remind you that we do a whole range of services that relate to energy efficiency and energy advice. So that's anything from potentially issuing fuel vouchers to people on prepayment meters. That funding is separate to any fuel vouchers people might be able to get from elsewhere. We can also tap into Fuel Bank Foundation vouchers if people urgently need it. We can come out and do talks on energy efficiency, priority service register, how accounts work, smart meters, carbon monoxide, dish out carbon monoxide monitors, all of that sort of stuff. And we also provide energy advice support to help people resolve issues around their accounts, their billing, any outstanding debt, how to set up accounts, all that sort of stuff. I can include a link in to the organisation, but for professionals like yourself, we also offer free training on a whole range of issues that relate to energy advice, so energy and debt, energy and mental health, dealing with damp and mould properties, all that sort of stuff. And for a lot of charities, that training is free, and it's City and Guilds accredited if that's of use and interest to people. So if anyone's got any events or coming up that they'd like an energy advice agency to rock up to, I'd be more than happy to help. And we're always willing to work in collaboration with any other agencies that you've got locally to make sure the client gets the best outcome possible, really. And that's it.
That's great. Thank you, Jenny. Sorry, apologies. My camera's going a bit funny. I've got this replacement laptop and it's just cameras just seems to be not doing what it should be doing. Next, I've got Joe Dalglish. Hello, Joe.
Hi. I think my colleague Jane Kemp normally comes. So I'm Joe Dalglish and I'm from the Sendias service in Bath and North East Somerset. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, the Sendias service provides special educational needs and disability information, advice and support. And the service is open for children aged 0 to 25 with additional needs and their parents and carers. So a young person can access our service directly, or a parent or carer, which is the more likely, to be honest, can also get in contact with our service. And we aim to support families largely through offering a helpline service, so people can get in contact by phone or by email. We offer face-to-face appointments and have a weekly session at Keynsham Library. And really, the aim of our service is to empower families so that they feel that they can participate in decision-making and planning around a child or young person's education and future. So the range of things that we deal with can be a simple inquiry about, well, I'd like to know whether there's a list of schools available in the local authority, in which case we signpost them to now and live well, right the way through to people needing help with SEND tribunal, or where a child has been permanently excluded from school. Families need support around the processes and challenge that's available in terms of that. So yes, we'll vary our offer depending on the needs of the family. So we aim to follow an empowerment model. So we're supporting families to take steps on their own behalf. But obviously the amount of help that people are going to need is going to vary from one person to the next. In terms of sort of initiatives at the moment, we are just about feedback that we had last year was that families often said that they wish that they'd known about our service sooner in their child's kind of SEND journey. So we're taking steps to kind of try and reach out to people as soon as possible. So we've been contacting nurseries and early years settings to try and inform people about our service, raise awareness. And we are just about to launch a pilot of a reading group in libraries across Bath and North East Somerset, where we'll aim to read sort of inclusive stories and have use of the sensory spaces in the libraries, so that families with small children can find out about our service, and also have that kind of peer-to-peer support and connection with, you know, other parents and carers of children with additional needs. Can't think, we've got a website that has lots of information on it, and you can, we don't sort of accept referrals. We won't just have people, professionals, contact us and say, oh, contact this family. We ask for families to be supported to get in touch with us. And on our website, there's a get in touch button that can be used for people to get in contact with the service. And you can book appointments directly through the website. We also offer information sessions on particular topics, and you can sign up to those from the webpage as well. And in terms of professionals, if there's ever anything specific that you would like, we can't give individual sort of casework advice where there's a professional, but we can provide information, general information. So if anyone ever wants to get in touch with a question, then please, you know, feel free to do so. And I'll just post in the chat the details of our website, so you've got it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jo. I can't see no hands up, so I'm going to come to Gavin Osborne. Good afternoon, Gavin.
Hello, how you doing? This is my first one of these, so yeah, I'm a little bit of a newbie, but I've just been taken over from Julian House. I was working at Julian House over at, in Bath for a number of years, and now I'm the fundraising manager for Sweden, which are an eating disorder awareness charity. So we provide support for families and friends and sufferers of anyone affected by an eating disorder, really. So you know, anyone who may be showing symptoms of anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating, or ARFID, or any of the other eating disorders that are affecting people of all ages. So as an organisation, we are based down in Shepton, but we have services across North Somerset, BSG, and now we've got some new services in Bath as well. So yeah, I'm new. I've only been at the charity for about 6 weeks, slightly less, so I'm still learning every single day about all the things that we're doing. But yeah, there was some children in need funding a few years back to Sweden to help us develop a children and young people service, which has really kicked on in the last few years, and that's now probably the area where we're seeing the most growth. Sadly, there's a lot more young people since COVID that have needed the support that we provide, and it's that sort of little gap between what the NHS provides and trying to get them in that sort of preventative stage just before they need clinical support. So yeah, Sweden operates all across the southwest and provides kind of therapeutic counselling and early intervention at a sort of subclinical level for anybody with eating disorders, really. And yeah, the first thing that we do is offer kind of guidance and support, and just a session to see what kind of levels of support they might need from us, and then, you know, often referrals from the NHS or from colleges and schools, and then we'll provide a clinical assessment, and then after that frontline support, they then maybe go into one of our sessions, either therapeutic counselling or a 12-step kind of CBT program of therapy and support. But yeah, we've also got a support phone call service as well, which really developed after COVID. So yeah, things have really grown for the charity. It's been going for 32 years, but now is really sort of pushing into other areas in the southwest. So we haven't really done too much work with Bath in the last few years, but now that's about to change. We've got some locations where, I mean, we have had clients from Bath, but actually having some therapists and some holistic work and some counselling inside Bath and BANES itself, that's quite new. We've got a team that operates out of the Penny Bron centre over in Pill, in Bristol, and then we go down as far as sort of Taunton, Exeter way, and as far east as Oxford with some children's services as well. So yeah, it's really developing as a charity, which is, you know, bad in the sense that there are more people with eating disorders than ever before, but at the same time, Sweden's been at the forefront of developing a sort of regional collection of charities, which is another acronym for you to remember and forget instantly, called REDCAN, which is, I think, Regional Eating Disorders Charity Awareness Network. And that was set up by Paula, our CEO, to try and bring the 8 eating disorder organizations across the country together a bit more, so that we can work together rather than separately. So yeah, that's literally just started. We've just hired the leader of that now. So yeah, it's a real growth area for us, the BANES and Bath particularly. But yeah, really lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome, Gavin. Thank you for joining us today. Next, I've got Katie Holden. Good afternoon, Katie.
Hello, hi, thank you. So I'm Katie, I'm from Curo. We're a social housing provider and also a home builder. So my team are the Workwise team, and we look after employment, education and training for residents and non-residents. Not only do we cover Bath, but we cover Bristol, South Gloss, and work down in Weston-super-Mare as well. So we support refugee and asylum seekers with one of our programmes. And we do work from hotels where those people are staying, where they get the right to work. We look at upskilling them, and we also look at helping them get their driver theory training booked in. So as you know, they might already have a license, but they need to resit their test. We do also have a wellbeing house, and I don't know if that's actually kind of publicised widely, but if anybody who lives in Bath needs some respite, there is a Curo home where they can stay for free. Could be they've been in hospital and they need to kind of reevaluate what's going on at home. It could be that they don't feel well enough to be at home because of a medical condition, and it's a kind of crossover for them to get that extra support, and there's therapeutic activities which happen there. Part of my role is to look after the construction social values under Section 106. So we also look at helping our customers get their CSCS card to be on construction sites. We look at work placements, and I work closely with Bath College, and we're building Wiltshire College links to look at T-level work placements as well, whether that be within trade, admin, or within our independent living service. That could be care as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about what me and the team do.
Thank you, Katie. Really interesting to hear that. Next, I've got Melissa Michael. Good afternoon, Melissa.
Oh, good afternoon. So this will probably be the quickest, shortest introduction. My name is Melissa Michael, and I have just recently, as in 2.5 weeks ago, joined SAFA. And so it was recommended that I join. It's lovely to hear. I want to say I'm pleasantly surprised, but I'm not surprised. It's just the amazingly outstanding work that's being done to help so many people. But so I really am here to sort of listen and learn and see what's happening in your area and whatnot. And if anyone has any questions for me, by all means. But yeah, I'm very much in the learning phase at this moment.
You're very welcome, Melissa. Thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we'll hear more from you in the future.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have David Ostry. Hello, David.
Hello. Hello, everyone. In contrast, this could be the longest contribution this morning, if you want it to be. So I work for Age UK BANES, which, as you probably know, provides ongoing services like information and advice, befriending, home from hospital. These are the regular ongoing services. In addition to that, we've got some money for a time-limited project called Aging Well, and I'll put the link in the website, in the chat, the link to our web presence. So we are trying to mobilize older people to improve the situation for older people in BANES. It's part of a kind of international initiative to make areas age friendly. So we are doing this by a number of initiatives, one of which is we're setting up an older people's panel, kind of citizens panel called the Older People's Voice, which will be led and organized by older people with our support, with an aim of advocating for changes, for instance, hassling the council about stuff, and various other things, which include, for instance, there's a transport initiative at the moment for older people. We've secured funding with the university and the council to support age-friendly transport initiatives, which will include training bus drivers. Another strand of this is age-friendly businesses. So that's promoting loos, public loos, public seating, and possibly a charter. We have other initiatives like the kind of joy in tech. So making our digital skills offering a bit more fun and not just task-based like dating, etc. We've also got a sort of challenging ageism strand. So we're running a older people's disco at Comedia in Bath and a bunch of other things like that. So this is to let you know really that as we get this panel of older people together, they could be a resource for you to as a sounding board or in other ways. And the final strand of the work we're doing is producing a kind of 360 reference document of what the challenges are for older people in BANES, distinct from other areas and in common with other areas. So if you have stories, data that you think tell the story of what life is like for older people and the challenges facing them, we'd be really delighted to hear from you, and I'll put my contacts in the chat too. And I'll leave it there.
That's great. Thank you, David. Good to hear from you. I've got Rich Wheeler. Hello, Rich.
Hi there. Sorry, just a couple of apologies. First of all, I was late joining the meeting, so I do apologise that. But one of the links that I had sent me to a different page altogether. So I joined the meeting at about 20 past. So for those that I've missed, I apologise. I'm from Avon Fire and Rescue Service. I work at a Bath fire station on Blue Watch. This is the first meeting that I've attended. I'm unaware if anyone from Avon Fire and Rescue Service has attended before. I don't know if anyone could answer that now, because I wouldn't want to repeat what anyone from the service has already said.
Not for a long time, Rich. We sometimes have them come to our community meetings, but this one, yeah, it's the first time I can remember for a long time that we've had someone from Fire and Rescue come along.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. This was passed to me by our comms team. So I would just like to sort of touch on what we can provide to all the services that are in attendance at this meeting. I'll put my email into the chat as well. And then if anyone has any questions or would like to contact me about things that we could come out and speak to specific groups, then we're more than happy to do that. So I'll start with home fire safety visits. Anyone is eligible to apply for these will come out and fit free smoke alarms or heat alarms and carbon monoxide alarms. This is a free service funded by the government, and we also attend via a risk-based strategy. So if you're over pensionable age, have mobility issues and live alone, we're most probably going to come and see you sooner than we would a family of 4 that are all working and able-bodied. We'll come out and do community visits, so talks and demos around water safety. As Bath Fire Station, we are water specialists due to the issues we have with the waterways across Bath, and obviously we'll come out and do fire safety talks as well. We can come out and do site-specific risk information gathering within your area, your place of business, and we'll use that. So if you have an incident or an accident, we're aware of the risks of where you live or what your business involves before we turn up, so we're aware. So it might be a bit more of an effective response. And we can also come out and do business fire safety checks, so just assisting you and ensuring that your fire doors are fitted correctly and point you in the right direction if you have any questions. That's just a very, very quick roundup of some of the things that operational crews like myself on Blue Watch and the other 3 watchers out of Bath will come and do for free. Traditionally, I know that we just turn up when someone's had an incident or an accident. We'll do what we do and then disappear. but we are really trying to push for the focus on prevention and protection now before we respond. So as I said, I'll put my email into the chat, and if anyone has any questions or would like to do any sort of joint working with us, then we'd be really interested in that. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Rich. And I'd just like to say that we've done work with your colleague Luke Lyons recently. He's been attending our community conversations, and he's been really engaging with people when it comes to home visits, and also he done a special talk for some elderly residents out on the east side of Bath who requested it from meeting him at one of the meetings. So the engagement seems to have really stepped up with the fire service recently, so thank you for that. It's really good. And apologies for the same, my camera has just suddenly completely failed, so it's gone off completely at the moment. I think unless there's anyone else I've missed, is there anyone else who wanted to speak or have any follow-up questions that wanted to come back in at all? No. I just got a very quick update myself. Just really to say that our team have been working in Bath on a new form of engagement. Like I just mentioned, we're doing community conversations around the different wards in the city, and it's a way of residents being able to come along and meet various services all at the same time. So we're linking up with police, Curo, fire service, ward councillors, and if there's anyone working within the council who wants to work on any consultation discussions with people, they tend to join us as well. We are a little bit on hold at the moment because we've got an election coming up for the west of England, but once that's out of the way, we'll be planning another round of these meetings around the city for people to just come along and drop in. I keep calling them meetings, and they're not actually meetings, they are drop-in sessions, so people tend to come along. We hold them in places like the Love Weston Cafe in Weston, where we have a lot of people coming in already, so we're not having to kind of fight to get an audience at these locations we go to, because we have an audience already there, and we're trying to publicize them to bring other people along as well, which is a benefit to those locations, and also obviously it benefits us if we have a good level of people. And we are collaboratively working on those topics and getting people's concerns dealt with much quicker, we feel, because where for example Curo sometimes are criticized for their telephone queuing sometimes, which people have to go through. Having a community liaison person from Curo face to face, they can talk an issue through straight away and normally get a resolution very quickly. And we're finding the same with our Fix My Street function as well. We can put issues straight onto the council system, and then we're getting updates in a really quick turnaround, which we can go back and update people on. So it's just really to let you know that, you know, if you've got residents that may want to kind of make contact with the different services, that they can come along. I've put the web page link in the chat, and once we've got some more dates, they will appear on the web page, and we'll do some comms on those so that people know that they're going on. I just wanted to ask Dave, did you want to come in at all? Did you have anything to update anybody on at all about Community Wellbeing Hub or anything else that we're working on?
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Mark. Just very quickly, my name's Dave Dixon. I'm the Corporate Engagement Manager for Bath North East Somerset Council, but I also chair the partnership board of the Community Wellbeing Hub that's based up at Unit 7 and the Business Park at Peasdown. So hopefully some of you, if not all of you, will have heard of that. It's a public-private third sector partnership that's been in operation since the start of COVID. So we're almost ready to celebrate 5 years up here at Peasdown. And in that 5 years, we've gone from having 6 regular engaged partners to 35 we've got now at the moment, 35 third sector partners, 32 of which are actually commissioned for certain services by Bath and North East Somerset Council or the ICB, and basically we're going to be here at Unit 7. We're just negotiating with HCRG to stay in Unit 7 because obviously they've won a bigger contract around care provision and across Bath and Swindon and Wiltshire. And we are in the process of working very closely with a new wellbeing provider called Everyone Health, who are due to start on the 1st of April, that we're doing wellness courses. And we're also in charge of and looking after some of the volunteering stuff and lots of different bits and bobs that are going on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be here and carrying on doing what we're doing. And we're going to work with some of our third sector partners. If anybody's interested and then or got any questions, then by all means, just send me an email, and if I don't know the answer, Sarah or Alison will, and I can get back to you. But we will be here. We are continuing to do what we do. We have been funded by the council for 2025-26, so that business plan was agreed. And we're hoping, obviously, to just build on the relationships and the partnerships that we've done about collaboration and co-production of some of the work that we're doing. So the hub is in Unit 7, but it's not owned by the council. It's not run by the council. We're just a partner in it, along with 35 other partners, and together with our private sector software provider, who's a company called Rivian, that are based in Bath, that allows us to share all sorts of information and communications between those partners about individuals, and looking at being able to deal with individual people's issues and problems as they refer into us. And to give you an idea, numbers wise, currently we have a presence at the atrium, the entrance at the RUH. If you're going through the doors on the left hand side, we're doing an awful lot of work with their hospital discharge units. And we deal with something like 800 referrals a month at the moment, which is around 300-400 people. And what the Rivian software system and the hub allows professional organisations and individuals to do is to refer people into a system which has got 35 partners, and so often that story goes into all those partners that are relevant to that individual person, and those relationships are made, and we look to try and achieve some positive outcomes for people that get put into the system. So that's kind of where we are at the moment, and things will be moving on, and things are always moving on being had. And if I keep going back to these meetings, I can just update you as we're going along. But I think that's enough from me, unless anybody's got any questions. I can't. Oh, somebody. There was somebody. I can't see down the bottom of the screen.
Joe Douglas.
Joe.
Okay, can I ask? I just so sorry. You say people get put into the system. So, what sort of? How do you kind of? What does consent look like in that? Because, who's deciding where those details go and which organisations they go to, I suppose, is what I'm. Would you be able to explain a bit about? I think I don't have a picture of what that process looks like. So in my head, I'm imagining bits of data about families kind of floating around. And also, I think and the other thing I wondered about is those 35 organisations that are on there. How is that? How come they're the ones that are on there? I suppose is what I'm asking. Sorry, it's very noisy where I am.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's all right. So the simplest and most straightforward way of an individual bolting themselves into the system is that we've got a telephone number which we've had for 5 years, and they can literally phone up and they'll speak to an individual on our triage team who will ask them a series of questions, get some information from them, and decide which particular partner or partners would need to actually speak to this person to try and deliver some of their outcomes. So that's the simplest one. You can literally self-refer. The majority, though, of our referrals are coming in via the professional referral form, which is done online. So you literally submit the form on behalf of the individual. Now, that could be any of the professionals that we're currently dealing with. So that could be a GP in a GP's practice. That could be a social prescriber in a primary care network. It could be somebody from Age UK. It could be a village agent down in Chew Valley or in Fox Hill who's got an individual that they need to put into the system. But people can also engage with the system. We've got these things which we call podlets, which are little sort of mini IT self referral stands basically, and we've got them in doctor's surgeries. There's one in Hope House in Radstock, there's one at Coombe Down Surgery, there's one at the hub at Mulberry Park. We're going to put one, there's one up in the Royal United Hospital, and people can literally almost just fill in some of that detail themselves and submit it. On the professional referral form, it allows individuals to put information to different partners simultaneously. So if somebody came along and presented with an issues that were of relevance for, let's say, Age UK, Curo and Bath Mind, then actually that information will go to all of those three organisations simultaneously through the software system. So it's completely confidential. It's a completely secure system, but it allows that information to be shared with those partners all in one go. So in the past, if somebody was with a complex set of issues needed to be dealt with by 3 or 4 different third sector partners, it doesn't happen because they don't go. They're not going to go to Age UK and tell a story and then go to Bath Mind and then go to Curo. It doesn't happen. So what the system and the software system allows all those partners to do is to share that information instantly. And then when we end up with really complex cases that are not particularly straightforward, we hold every Wednesday afternoon a multidisciplinary team meeting, hybrid one, with usually about 12 or 15 different organisations on it. And we have discussions about those particular individuals and about who deals with what issue first, because often there is one individual one individual organisation that maybe holds the key to unlocking all the rest of it. So it's a question then of the professionals and the system and the council. What we do is we allow the professionals in their field to make the decisions about what they do about these individual people themselves collaboratively. And then it's obviously recorded and it can be tracked and it can be recalled back again so we can update the system as we're going along. So out of the 35 partners, we've got some partners obviously like Curo, Avon Fire and Rescue again are one of our partners, and an integral partner in that. But the majority of them, about 32 of them, are third sector organisations that we currently commission in some way or another. So we have a financial setup standing link with them about delivery of services as on behalf of the council or the ICB. And that's the thing that makes the difference. But we're always welcome to new partners. In fact, Second Steps, I don't know if they're still here. I know that they are one of our more recent partners that joined. And we're always welcome for anybody to come along and make a pitch about why they need to be involved in the process. Because again, basically the system, the way it's set up, is extremely flexible. And it's extremely useful for the individual organisations, because what it also does for them is that it let me say calculates their value. I don't mean that in a nasty way, but I mean it means like if you're a small individual third sector organisation, a charity, and you're busy doing the doing, it's really brilliant to have a system that's set up which can actually prove how much you're doing to your commissioner, whether it's in the ICB or whether it's in the council. So, you know, charity X will suddenly say, oh, do you know what? I've had X number of referrals over the last month and I've achieved this amount of benefit for that number of individuals. And then we can calculate, and we've done a lot of the crunching of the numbers, we can actually calculate the societal benefit to the community and individual public and private sector partners from about the value of that intervention. So especially things like, you know, a day in hospital at the RUH cost X amount of money. If we and some of our third sector partners can prevent people from having to go back into hospital or going into hospital for the first time, we can actually put a financial figure against that around savings. not just for the council, but also for the ICB and also for the wider community and society as a whole. So that's where the other beauty of all the number crunching that's going on in the background comes to the fore. Does that kind of answer the question? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
That's all right. Brilliant. It's quite, and I've worked for the council for over 30 years. It's one of the most transformational things I've ever been involved with, because it literally, you can see the practical difference it makes to people's lives on virtually a daily basis. And that's doesn't happen very often. And it's attracting an awful lot of attention regionally and nationally. And we get lots and lots of people from other councils and other integrated care boards contacting us going, what are you doing there? Because whatever you're doing somehow seems to work. And I'd love to say it was all pre-planned and it was marvelous, but it wasn't. It came out of COVID in 2020 when it was just sheer mayhem. And we just learned lots of lessons as a bunch of partners very quickly, built lots of relationships and trust and experience. And once COVID finished, after about 18 months, 2 years, we thought, are we going to waste all that, or are we going to just carry on? And we thought we'll go from being a very reactive organisation dealing with COVID to being a more proactive organisation with all our partners to deal with what is a crisis in the provision of adult social care and all the services that people require with an ageing demographic, basically. There, we've been shortlisted for the Municipal Journal National Awards around partnership working, and so I'm just rehearsing some of the spiel. So hopefully I'll get it right when we actually have to meet with them. But that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you everybody for your contributions today. I've popped the link in for the webpage where the remaining meetings for the year are listed. We next are due to meet on the 20th of May. So if you think of any other organisations you know of that might want to come along and share their stories and information with us, please pass on our details to them. But other than that, I would just say thanks again and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.